and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, do you use UPI payments on an everyday basis? Then this is something that you need to watch till the end. In a move that could impact the growing UPI-based digital payment sector in India and cause massive inconvenience to users, the central government is now considering a plan to introduce a minimum 4-hour delay for a transaction for the first time between two users. This plan will be discussed later today at a high-level meeting. Our correspondent Karishma Asoodani joins us with more on the story. Karishma, good morning. Tell us, what is the plan, what is being considered here, because this sounds absolutely big.
Well, right, Sakshi, with rising instances of cyber frauds, the government is, of course, looking to create awareness among the users, and they're chairing a very important meeting today at 2 p.m. In fact, this meeting is being chaired by Secretary, Department of Financial Services, and one of the major points on agenda is if they should try and cap a time limit in terms of a UPI transaction. Right now, if you see the UPI transaction, they happen in seconds, and that has been the beauty and the unique perspective and objective of this making fast, free digital payments. But government is considering that they could come up with a window of close to 4 hours, and this could be liable on most of the digital payments, including the one that are through the bank-to-bank transfers. This is one of the agendas and one of the proposals that the ministry is considering. Today's meeting will have officials from banks, from Reserve Bank of India, from aggregators, from also from the Telecom Authority of India and TRAI. All these will discuss on how they can try and look for certain measures that not only cut down the cyber frauds that happen across banks and payment transfers, but also through these fake calls that most users receive in terms of getting the OTP details out or any other such personal details related to our accounts.
Fair enough. So the point taken, why this meeting is being called for and why this option is being considered is to curb the cyber frauds and the increasing cases recently that we've come about where people have been receiving multiple unknown calls and have been trapped in cyber frauds which are money related. Tell us if you have any more details of what has been the trigger point. Has there been a major fraud case that has triggered this urgent meeting?
Well, Sakshi, firstly, I'll get you some data. If we also look at, in fact, the Reserve Bank of India's annual report of 2022 and 2023, that is just last year, the total number of fraud cases in the banking system were pegged at close to about 13,530, close to an amount of about 30,000 crore that got taken away due to these cyber frauds. Now, in this, a part of it, which is close to about 50%, were of digital payment, that is the card issues or the fraud bank transfers or people calling for fraud OTPs. Now, while the government, of course, has been trying and, upscaling their awareness programs for a long time, which in fact, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has also been talking about. But I think the trigger point has to be the latest case around Diwali, where you see where UCO Bank had, in fact, shared that about close to rupees 820 crore were credited from its account via IMPS to its account holders, while about close to 60 to 70% money had been recovered, but the 30% money has still not been recovered, which of course adds to the loss of the bank, and this was also reported to the Finance Minister of India. So I think keeping that in mind, the Department of Financial Services wanted to meet all the stakeholders to understand what is the perspective and what actually can be done to at least try to reduce these transactions, because India is going big on digital payments, and it's very important for us to get the fundamentals sorted.
Absolutely. Karishma, stay with us. We also have an external guest now joining us. Kshitiz Mahajan now joins in. He's the CEO of Complete Circle. Mr. Mahajan, good morning to you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to discuss this very, very important matter. The news that we are discussing is that the government is now thinking of creating a minimum time frame for the first time UPI transfers above 2,000 rupees. What is your first thought in case such a thing really gets underway? What happens to all the success that we've been celebrating so far on the digital payments front?
Sakshi, absolutely what you are saying is there. India is way ahead of the global peers when it comes to digital payment, and this has been our success story. But this will not only help to curb the frauds, but it will help the vendors also. The frauds are from both sides. When vendors are getting, you must have seen nowadays you have those UPI speaking machines, where they says that let's say 240 rupees received, because a lot of frauds are going on, and yeah, it will delay lot of the digital success part to a bit, but in a way this can curb in coming times lot of frauds also. Yeah, I've also taken back, because it's like for the first time, if you want to transact to a shopkeeper also, if you have to pay more than 2,000 rupees, then you have to pay with a delay of 4 hours. And then if you want to take some stuff, how you will take that stuff? So otherwise, it was so handy. I've seen recently many of these payment gateway doing ad that there is no need for OTP also for small payments. That's a new concept which has come. Payment which are less than 500 rupees, there is no need for your UPI OTP also. You can just scan it and pay it. But yes, this will overall hit digital sentiments. But I'm saying in a long way, it is good only, because as and when you see the good part of technology keeps on cropping up, and simultaneously there is a bad side also which keeps on cropping up, and it creates a lot of losses for people, for all of us. That money matters a lot, but yeah, it creates a lot of losses for people. But yes, I don't know how they will shape up, because let's say if somebody's having a payment of 2,200 and they can give in parts also, that can also be done. 1,100 also can be done, because there is no need for you to establish any time lag for payment less than 2,000. So let's see in what shape this will come. But regulator, RBI, their key interest is to safeguard the interest of hard-earned money of investors, or let's say people who are transacting it. And to some extent, this can be useful for vendors also, because at the same time, the frauds
Fair
are on
enough.
that side
Mr.
also.
Mahajan, 2 points right there that you're saying that the government is really taking cognizance of the fact that the cyber fraud cases have really escalated in the recent past, and we need to put a curb to that. And that's why the stringent measure, even if it is at the cost of the digital payment success, is being taken. But what really happens now, in case this really goes through, anyone going to say a petrol pump, a new petrol pump, will have to pay? Do you think it will be deterred now? Again, we will have to go back to say by paying cash or through card or through net banking, and avoid paying via UPI, maybe to a new shop retailer where you're shopping at, a new restaurant where you're going to be eating out at. At all of these scenarios, will people be forced to perhaps go back to the original payment methods?
So yes, the idea for UPI is to curb the cash economy. But Sakshi, my sense is it is the first time it's relation which you have to establish. Like we keep on, adjusting as per the new norms. I think the first time if you and I are going to petrol pump, we want to use a UPI, maybe we'll go for 1,800 rupees tank full, or little less amount of tank full, where the relationship is established. Once you have a relationship which is established, next time you can make 5, 6, 7,000 payment also. They are saying that a first time transaction which is happening, which is more than 2,000, has to have a first time 4 hour lag, is what they are talking about. I think we will get used to it, but yes, what you're saying is also right. This can might bring back cash economy to some extent. But yes, I think the sense should prevail with most of the people who are using UPI, and they might look at establishing a relation with a lesser amount with the vendor, and then. But one thing, like I was traveling to Jaipur, and most of the payment I was doing through UPI, whether it's 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. So there, I totally agree with you. You know how things will manage. The beauty of UPI is that you can be cashless, and you can transact on a click of a button from your phone. So let's see how things will shape up. But yes, it might bring back a little bit of cash part to the economy.
Sure. Mr. Bajan, stay with us. Karishma, what are the other options that are going to be discussed in today's meeting apart from the threshold level, 2,000 rupee level? Is that going to be a sacrosanct? Can this also go up with the kind of inputs that the stakeholders may give? Like you were talking about, the aggregators will be there, NPCI representatives are likely to be there, and they're going to be putting their thoughts forward as well. Do you think this is going to be a point of discussion, that whether the 2,000 rupee threshold should be changed to maybe a higher amount to cause less inconvenience to people?
Yeah, Sakshi, I think besides, of course, in terms of the 4-hour delay transaction, it is one of the many options that government is exploring. The others that my sources hint is in collaboration with the telecom authority and, of course, the ministry. They're planning to try and list out, find a way or strategize a way in which certain numbers or fake calls or fraud calls could be assessed well in advance and could be blocked automatically, so that, you know, that is one of the ways that people may not step into such transactions and may not have to face this challenge once this happens. The second such options that they're exploring is that they'll be meeting the banks today to try and understand and geomap it, that from which region are they seeing most of these calls coming from which city and from which area do they see that these transactions try and happen on a maximum note. But in terms of UPI, I think Mr. Mahajan shared a really good point to highlight the facts a bit, that this is going to be mostly for the first time transactions only. So if we pick up an example of probably going to a petrol pump or something that is related to more of our daily lives, for example, groceries for above rupees 2,000, then once you've established a trust relationship with the vendor, and once you have those that payment mode activated with that vendor on trustable notes, I think it gets easier for one to do that transaction rather than to do to somebody new. So just like how we have some processing time for a NEFT transaction, which is the National Electronics Fund Transfer, government may try and create this gap where you can try to edit your transaction. So in case your money, which is above rupees 2,000, gets deducted to a wrong sender, or probably you're getting duped, then it's going to be easier for a consumer to try and reverse their transaction and immediately alert the bank. Because as of now, when you see the transactions that happen, if there is a dupe transaction, there is not much you can do rather than alerting your bank and then notifying them that this has happened. And for further transactions, they try and cap your transaction to a change of password, change of PIN, or they block your cards, or they block your digital payment ID so that it doesn't happen again. But I think this gives some kind of leeway and flexibility for a consumer to take it up. I think government is also vigilant of the fact that Indians, as per the data records, do use UPI transactions a lot, and rupees 2,000 is quite a common amount, at least in the urban areas, for people who are spending on daily needs and groceries. So maybe there could be an option of government trying and exploring a different cap amount, which we will learn after today's meeting.
Absolutely. Mr. Mahajan, your own thought process of what could be the other options that the government could be looking at to really, if you know, cyber fraud is the major concern right now, and this is the step. What are the alternatives that are available with the government, that even if this step is being taken as an immediate effect to curb any more frauds that take place starting today or starting the implementation date whenever they get through this, but what are the other options that the government can be looking at here?
So I think, Sakshi, if you can recall that whenever you establish a UPI relation with any payment gateway, normally they deduct 1 rupee, and they said that this will be reversed. So idea of that 1 rupee is to establish the right relationship with the person. That's what it is. So I think one thing with government is looking at is that we are saying you have established relationship, a trustable relationship, and that can be with 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 15 rupees also. But you are sure that yes, you have done a transaction before of 20 rupees also. Let's say you're buying a biscuit packet. But once the relationship is there, we don't have a problem. You can transact more than 2,000 on real-time basis. So I think government must be looking at one thing. They might increase this amount by 2,000 to 3,000. If you see that initially on credit cards, your no pin limit has come close to about 5,000 rupees, if you remember initially. Now you can adjust depending on whatever amount you want to take out without entering your pin through your mobile app. I think they might increase from 2,000 level to 3,000 or 4,000. But this will be actually very effective, as shared by your colleague, that, normally how the frauds happen, they send you a link, you just click and the payment gets deducted.
Yeah.
And it's real time, you keep on fighting with ombudsman in the bank. So I think this will help a lot of people from getting safe from that fraud. So I know people from my industry, from financial sector, they've been duped by all these links. So I think in a way, in a long run, this is a right step. Yes, this can be a little bit of stressful for the people like us who are using it effectively, but I think in the long run, this is very effective. So I think you establish a relation with a less amount if you don't want to get into that hassle of 4 hour delay, and then you can just move on.
Great point,
Like
Mr. Mahajan. Why don't you share with us some more details of, what is the kind of percentage of digital payments via UPI that you receive from your clients as part of your business, to give us more clarity on whether that will get impacted as well? Because you manage a lot of wealth from your investors. A lot of people, even, we're talking about the IPO season. A lot of people also do that via UPI payments. Tell us, what is the entire sense that you've been getting?
So you'll be surprised, anything which comes as a top up money. We get a lot of money through UPI, and this can be as which is smaller than 2 lakh rupees. Because one day limit is your 2 lakh rupees. So in fact, anything which is less than 2 lakh rupees, around 55% of the allocation we get through UPI. This is what we get. So because it's real time basis, let's say if markets are giving some opportunity, we'll tell a client this is the right time that you should participate more, and they just UPI through their bank account to us, which is amount which is less than 2 lakh rupees. This is very, very convenient. If they have not, let's say, added us as a payee, the UPI is the right thing to go about it. And let's say you very well mentioned that the IPO part. Now, they allow us to go through UPI. Now, what can be what channels get hit more, Sakshi? Like Zerodha, because there you can make the payment through UPI only, and there's a daily limit. There also, once you establish a relation, one-time relation you have established, then second day onward, life becomes normal. So my only view here is that it might sound that yes, it might create some problem initially, but yes, people who are traveling, there it has issue, because you're at some place, you have eaten with family, that bill is 2,300 rupees, and I don't know whether you can break it, how this will work. Maybe that's one thing. Or maybe, Sakshi, my sense is government might look at where there is a face-to-face interface. They might not do this thing, the limit, they might increase the limit rather than keeping it 2,000. But when there is online interface, now how they will establish is that we have to see. If you are scanning a barcode, QR code, maybe they will increase the limit. So let's see how things will shape up. But I think in the long run, it is good for investors.
Another point, Mr. Mahajan, that Karishma was also pointing out too, that perhaps this minimum time frame of 4 hours would give some kind of a leeway to all the peer-to-peer transactions that happen via UPI, to perhaps look at whether you have by mistake sent money. And it's happened with me also. Let me tell you a case in point. I was paying a new cab person, and I definitely, dialed a wrong number, and the payment was never retrieved. So I paid 400 rupees at a loss. So it has happened on a personal basis as well. So in that case, will people benefit? Is there a room to reverse in case a person is able to, perhaps tell authorities that a wrong transaction has happened from either of the peer-to-peer transactions ends? Will it be reversible or not within that 4-hour time frame?
Oh, yes, Sakshi. I think what you're saying is 100% right. The transaction can be reversed. That's the only reason they're giving 4 hours time. That if you have realized that you have gone wrong, just reverse the transaction. You can do that, because that's the time which they are saying that it will take to credit the money. Second part here, which is again very, very, very critical, is that people from our industry still understand that what all this is. People who are not from financial sector, think about them. So in a way, it is really good for them that this timeline, this lag period has been given, so that in corrective measures has to be taken, it can be taken immediately. So it's a big jolt to various fraudsters who keep on planning things. But I think it's a good thing in the long run for participants who want to transact, faceless, who want to do their transaction seamless. I think this is really big. Yes, this might create some problem with many of these payment apps, how they will do. But for the P2P lending also, you can think twice or thrice. Now, commitment level become like of something of a issue between this P2P lending, because you're not face to face, and then there is a lag of 4 hours. Then how the deal will happen, that we have to look at it. Second thing which will get impacted is this cryptocurrency part also, because a lot of cryptos get transferred through UPIs also. So because I've done lot of study on the crypto part also. So all these Binance and many exchanges, they do transaction through UPI, where live transaction happens. So it's a big jolt to crypto part also. Because
Okay.
first inflation which you have to establish, and then how things will shape up. And in less than 2,000 rupees, nothing will come in crypto, as per my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fair enough. Really appreciate all the valuable insights that you've added, Mr. Mahajan, on this very, very important topic. And this is a developing story which Karishma from Business Today will be tracking and getting us all the updates from the Finance Ministry, where the meeting will take place today. So do watch this space on Business Today television, and we will cover this through and through for you to really tell you how this news is going to be really impacting you as a user and to the entire digital payments ecosystem at large as well. Many thanks for joining us, viewers, onto this very special edition. Thanks a lot, Karishma and Mr. Mahajan, for adding those valuable insights. And with that, we will wrap up this special edition. But do stay tuned on to Business Today TV to catch all the more action that comes up on your screens right after this too.